Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke. I'm a sewing specialist here at Fons and Porter. In this Quilting Quickly tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the pieces that go into the table runner called Blooming Yo-Yo Runner. If you'd like to purchase this pattern, please visit our website. We're going to be using 30s prints today, and we're going to be cutting those from 5-inch strips because we need to have 6 pieces that all match to make the flower type units that go into our table runner. So we're going to be using 5-inch strips, not 5-inch squares, so it's a little bit different in this one. And then the centers are all made from a consistent yellow fabric to make that center of our blooming flower. We have 2 ways that we can approach doing the yo-yos. We can do them in the very traditional method, which would be that we just trace. In your pattern, you'll have a circle template that you can trace onto the fabric and cut out. And then by simply taking, I'm using red, you would use a matching color thread. You can go around each of the edges by just turning it under approximately 1/4 of an inch or so and doing a long running stitch along the outer edge of the block. Now, a long running stitch, I said, because if you take very small stitches, you'll find that the center of your yo-yo has a very large hole in the center. So we want to take kind of long stitches, which is just the opposite of what I used to think. I used to think, oh, tiny little stitches would be better. But in this process, it's just about the in and out running stitch to get it gathered up. And you can see as I pull in on the thread, I'm using a double thread here so it's a little stronger so I can tug on it and won't have the thread snap or break. And then it looks a little like a pouch there as I kind of flatten out the center. And then I can take a little bit of a stitch to kind of secure that into the folds. And then I can tie a knot, and I'll bury my thread by pulling it to the back side of the little yo-yo shape. So I'm going to take it down to the back side. See that nice small center there that we're looking for, and we can snip away. And this is a little bit larger block or yo-yo, so you can see it a little bit better here. We get really small. We're using a yo-yo maker then to make yo-yos that we can, I guess I do have another thread already prepared, but we're going to be using another way to make these without with a tool then, if you have one, is the Clover Maker makes a yo-yo in different sizes, and this one, it happens to be the large size. So we're going to be using this yo-yo maker. It's in 2 pieces, pops apart like this. One looks like a wheel, this one kind of has an edge like almost like a pizza pan. And we're going to take one of our fabrics, we're going to place it into the pan, kind of, put the disc on top, and we're going to snap it in. You can hear it kind of click all around the edges. If it doesn't click, pop it back out. That pan has kind of a hole in the center. You can pop it out, and you just have to rotate it a little until it snaps in just right, and you hear it click all the way around, like that. Now there's extra around that you just need to take a scissors and trim away. We're going to leave maybe about 1/4 inch or so. This is on the inside, going to be on the inside of your yo-yo, so it really won't matter how close. You want to leave a little bit though. And all the way around the edge. And then you would want to use a matching thread. I again have contrasting threads so that you can see. Now the yo-yo maker has little like almost smiley shapes along the bottom of that pan shape. And what you're going to be doing is going down through each of those from the left side of the smile to the right. Whoops, I got that back up there. I'm going to lodge my thread so that it doesn't pull through. And your thread's going to slide down into that opening, and you're going to do like a stab stitch up and down through those openings all the way around. This would be a great project for a kid who wants to learn how to sew. Help them to learn how to maneuver a needle and thread, get that patterning in their rhythm in their head. So that's kind of a look, I can sew, but it's the beginnings of stitching. So it would be a great way for working with beginners. It doesn't have to be really exacting because you're just basically following the wheel all the way around. Now when you get all the way around the wheel, you're going to pop it apart, and I'll just get a couple more stitches in here so that as I pop it apart, you can see what does happen. Okay, I've got about halfway around. I'm going to put my finger through that hole in the back and pop it out. Now if I stitched all the way around, I can remove that disc. It's loose enough. The stitching actually goes down into each of those little notches around there, so that when I pull on it, it gathers up the same way as it did in the traditional stitching through. So it would be my yo-yo, and you can see half of it there appearing already. So that's how you use the yo-yo maker to make those flower shapes or pieces for your flower shape. Now, once you've created all of your flower pieces, the centers and 6 identical petals for your flower, you're going to be just literally tacking them together. It takes very little. You would want to use a very neutral colored thread. And what I did when I was working on these was I would took the center and I would place back sides together and just take a little 2 or 3 little stitches right on the fold. And you can see my knot here, but I would bury my knot inside of the flower. But a little tug, I can get it to the inside. And just take 2 or 3 very small stitches right together in one little spot like this. And then, if you really are patient, you can go down into the fold and skip over a ways to attach to the next piece. When I was first beginning doing these, I would just take the thread into the fold of the fabric and kind of bury it, tie a knot, take it right down to the fabric again, then go back in again, and I'm going to go inside the yo-yo, inside to that open area, so I can bury my tail of my thread inside of the flower petal. And then very carefully snip just the thread and not the fabric. So now they're attached. And then you would go ahead and keep working all the way around. You're going to be attaching the center to each of the petals. So you're going to be tacking it here, 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 and then from petal to petal in a ring around the outside. Now if you want to be real exact about it, you can actually kind of fold the petals to figure out where halves are so that they line up. But sometimes the whimsy of it being close counts. That's what you get when you create your blooming flower runner table or yo-yo table runner. If you'd like to see more of our video tutorials, please visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.